Hello, welcome to the queue. It is KMT USA turn 11. It is July of 41. So let's look at some purchases. For the KMT, we have $1. We can't buy anything, so we're just going to save it and invest it. But let's look and see what they are going to do. They do have two attacks. This time we are not going to take our feeble cavalry into Seakang. We're going to take our mountain infantry and walk in, and he's got this special weapon there, like a bladed weapon, so he's going to whack that weed, and that'll be the end of that CCP weed. The other attack, we've got our strategic bomber that's in Seakang. He'll fly 1, 2, and he's going to bomb the rail on the Kwangtung-Anantonkan border. All right, so that is the damage. I don't think we don't really have to roll the dice for the bombing the rails, or do we? Well, I get 2 dice, so that's 2 damage for sure. So being a mountain territory, that's all it needs. And then he will fly back to Seakang. All right, so that is the attacks for the KMT. We are going to now consolidate all of our forces into Seakang, and the dog is wanting out. So let me do this, and then I will go let the dog out real quick. All right, so 4 cavalry from Singhai will come into Seakang, 2 artillery, 4 infantry. And I probably need to get a marker to put all those on, but I didn't think about that before I started my turn. All right, so here's a recap of KMT forces. In the far Seakang is a mountain infantry, Singhai 2 militia, Quichao 2 militia, Yunnan 4 militia. In the South Seakang is 2 anti-aircraft guns, 6 artillery, 3 medium armor, 17 infantry, 1 militia, and 8 cavalry, and a strategic bomber. Just trying to figure out what that was. All right, so for their income, they have 1. Now they have 2. So at least I have an option next turn. And I'm going to set this right here. And let me run and do the dog real quick before it gets really crazy. I'm coming. Sorry about that. But when the dog's got to go, dog has to go. So should have done that before I started my turn, but I didn't want to stop the camera and start it over. All right. So let's go to the U.S. We had 74, and we got convoyed for 3. So that leaves us 71. And for 71, we are going to buy a heavy strategic bomber, a fighter, a medium bomber, 2 submarines. We're going to finish from the build queue the light carrier, the medium cruiser. We're going to advance a battleship and place a new battleship. We've got Lend-Lease of an Anzac infantry, a French mechanized, and we're going to build 1 infantry in London. So let's roll for our techs. Get that up on the board. Artillery, factories, and radar. So let's get white, red, and yellow. And these are all 7s. And we got a 2, a 7, and a leaner. And the leaner is a 2. So 7 is yellow. That is artillery. So that is first on the board for artillery. All right. Second, we've got long-range aircraft, jets, and large ship construction. And I've got some dice there to remind me of some things if I get long-range aircraft. Let's see. And the long-range aircraft is blue, and these are all 8s. 10, 2, and a 3. So not looking good for tech. So 10 is green. So jets goes up to stage 3. And the last one is rockets, and it is red. And that is a 9. 2. All right, well, we haven't done well on rockets at all, so once again, the tech is not going well for the U.S. On some of the important ones. All right, let's move on to, don't need those anymore. I didn't get it. All right, so combat. We do actually have some combat, because for some reason up here in Portugal, fascism has sprung up like a secondary weed. So we're going to go take care of that one. And what we've got here is 2 transports that are in port in Gibraltar. They will load up, come up here to Sea Zone 35. And that is a Marine, an infantry, a light tank, and an artillery. All right, so we got 2 battleships coming up. That'll be 2 bombards. We're going to have a medium, I always say medium, a heavy cruiser, and he'll come up for a bombard. So I have 3 bombards, those 4 units, and then we have a fighter in Gibraltar, which will come up 1, 2, and he'll have a movement of 2 left. So now we've got some escort duties here. We're going to take this destroyer from A41, come up to A37, and this destroyer from A41 up to A37. So they're going to go on convoy or escort duty here in A37, those 2. All right, so the rest is non-com. Get those off. That'll be non-com. All right, so we have 1 combat, so we'll roll that off. You know what? I don't have a dice tray on this side of the table. I'll have to use the big one, I guess. All right, so let me go get some dice. All right, so we're going to have 2 bombards for the battleships at 4. And we'll use the white dice here for the cruiser, and it's at a 2. All right, so 2 at 4, 1 at 2. We'll roll them here. So we did get 1, which is all we needed, because there's just 1 militia there. So Portugal is liberated without any fuss. But I didn't really have anything else to do with all those units anyway, so. All right, so in Portugal will be a Marine, infantry, artillery, light armor. The fighter will fly back to Gibraltar. All right, so let's get that marker off. Let's move U.S. up 1, and I moved Germany up 1 when they went, so they'll go down 1. And U.S. will go up to 62. All right, that is it for the combat portion. Let's do some non-combat movement. We've got a transport here in Texas. I'll just grab that infantry and come up 1, 2 and go into port here in Washington, D.C. Drop off that infantry just for grins. We have a seaplane here in Puerto Rico. We'll fly 1, 2, 3, 4 into the Carolinas because, yeah, there's a seaplane base there. So we'll put them there. We have over here in this port in London, we'll do strategic naval movement for this transport. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go in port here in New York. The destroyer will just come south from A21-12 into C zone A35, and we'll pull off escort duty, a destroyer and a light cruiser, and we'll leave one destroyer on cruiser or on escort duty here in A44, so they'll come up one to join the fleet, the little mini fleet there in A35. We've got a movement on this medium bomber. He has a movement of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into Puerto Rico. The 2 coastal subs in A42 move over 1 to A43. And that is all we have going here in the Atlantic side. Let's see what movements we got over here in the Pacific. We are going to shuffle over the 2 carriers with a tactical and a light cruiser, and they will come over here to C zone P29, and I probably should get a card for them, task force marker, whatever. But all right, so they're in port. I'll leave them here in Hawaii in port. These 2 coastal subs in P24 come down to P29. Everything else pretty much stays. We're out of harm's way for the time being, so I don't see a need to move anything else on land. So let's just place our goods here that we purchased. In San Francisco, we need a fighter for that carrier. And we need a strategic heavy bomber that's got to make its way into position. All right. What else is going on the San Francisco side? The light carrier and heavy cruiser. We'll take those off the build queue there. Ooh, hope I didn't lose that under the map. There we go. All right. All right, so the light carrier, heavy cruiser is also going on the San Francisco side with the 2 subs. And that is in C zone P25. Nope, the light carrier is not going there. That was silly. That's not what they were doing. The heavy cruiser is. The light carrier is going over on the east side with this medium bomber. So let's grab, you know what? Let's go grab the infantry for London as well. All right, so we'll place our infantry in London. We're going to place our medium bomber here in New York. And down here in Washington, D.C., yeah, there's a major shipyard, so we'll put that light carrier in port in Washington, D.C. with that transport. All right, so that is a sign of the times there. We've got our battleships. We're going to move this one up to stage 2. And we are placing one on stage 3. Last 2 items, the French mechanized and the AVtaK infantry. The AVtaK infantry will come out of San Francisco, follow the same route here into Sydney. The French mechanized can come out of Washington and around there saying hello to the Germans as they pass into Cameroon. And that is it for that. Let's look at income. Our income is back up to 62, plus our 12 is 74. So 74 for the U.S. next turn, and I'll leave that. 82. $2 for the KMT. All right, so recap, if you want to hang around, fine. Big fleet here in P29 is 2 fleet carriers, 1 tactical, 1 excuse me, light cruiser, 1 heavy cruiser, 4 destroyers, 2 battleships, 2 coastal subs. In Hawaii in port is 2 transports, a fighter, a tactical, an anti-aircraft gun, a militia, 3 Marines, 3 infantry. Sea Zone P-25 is 2 subs and a heavy cruiser. San Francisco is a airborne militia, heavy strategic bomber, fighter. Southwest U.S. is a mountain. Northwest Pacific is a mountain and a militia. There's some militia on some islands, along with a Marine on Midway. Not a Marine, an infantry on Midway. All right, so new territory over here in Portugal is infantry, a Marine, artillery, light tank. In Sea Zone A35 is 2 battleships, 2 transports, 2 destroyers, 1 light cruiser, 1 heavy cruiser. A43 is 2 coastal subs. A44 is a destroyer on escort duty. A37 is 2 destroyers on escort duty. Puerto Rico medium bomber. Carolinas seaplane. Washington, D.C. 2 infantry, Marine, militia. In port is a light carrier and a transport. And New York, move that up a little. New York is 2 infantry, airborne, a Marine, a medium bomber, and in port is a transport. Southern England, 2 infantry, London, 2 infantry. And that should round out the U.S. I already did the KMT on their turn, so next up will be Germany. So Panzer J will be doing turn 12, January of 42.